One. What's up, everyone? I'm JJ Stankevitz. Welcome into another episode of Instant Reaction here on the Colts Audio Network and on the Colts YouTube page. Joined every week by Colts Ring of Honor wide receiver Bill Brooks as we break down the Colts' latest game. Bill, the Colts lose in week 2, 16-10 to the Green Bay Packers up at Lambeau Field in Wisconsin. A lot to get into with this game, some of the nitty-gritty of it, but I want to start just kind of big picture, Bill. This idea of complementary football, because that's something Shane Steichen talked about after the game, where the Colts were not able to play the kind of complementary football on offense and defense, where the defense, once they kind of settled things down after a rough start to the game, gave the ball back to the offense. The offense was not able to do anything with it really until late in the game when it was almost too little too late. But the flip side of it, Bill, is the Packers coming into this game with Malik Willis starting at quarterback. He arrived there a couple weeks ago via trade with the Tennessee Titans. For them to start the game off with a field goal, defense getting a 3-and-out, a touchdown, defense getting a 3-and-out, what do you think that did for Green Bay's confidence just getting their feet under them in this game, playing the kind of complementary football that the Colts wanted to play?
Well, what I think it did for them, it gave them confidence. I mean, you have a quarterback that just got there 20 days. It's been 20 days as of today, the game that he's been there. And then he goes out, he executes the game plan. And I'm sure it's a condensed game plan because he doesn't know the offense that well. And then you move the ball down the field, you run the ball, and they know they were going to run the ball. The Colts did. And they run the ball successfully, go down, get points, defense of the Packers stop the Colts. And then the Packers go down again after that, get a touchdown. And then you just have so much confidence if you're the Green Bay Packers. You have a new quarterback in there that's taking over for Jordan Love, who's injured. And he's executing the offense, and he's moving the ball down the field. The defense sees that the Packers are moving the ball down the field, meaning the Packers defense, and they feel good about what they're doing. They're trying to put that quarterback in good position by making sure they stop the Colts and get the ball back to their offense. And the offense is running the ball, eating up clock, making the Colts defense stay out there on the field and try to stop them and driving down the field. So the Packers have a lot of confidence now knowing that, hey, our quarterback, this new quarterback, can move the ball against this defense, and we could do a good job of stopping them. So they have all the confidence in the world that, you know what, if they continue to do that, they should win the football game. And they did do that for the most part of the first half. And in the second half, it changed a little bit, but it was a little bit too late for the Colts to come back.
Yeah, I mean, the flip side of it, Bill, is when the Colts were, when they're going 3-and-out and then they can't stop the run and they can't stop the Packers from scoring on those first 2 drives, nearly the first 3 drives, which we'll get into. That seems a lot more difficult to pull out of it. Like, I guess the thought I had is, well, at least if the offense is doing well or the defense was doing well, you could say, all right, well, at least we have something. And hey, if just one side of the ball fixes what they're doing, we're good. In this game, it was both sides of the ball had to fix what they were doing from a 10-0 deficit right off the bat.
Yeah, and it's hard when both sides of the ball are not playing well. It seems like, man, this is a hard climb for us to get back into the game. If one side is not playing well, you hope they can make adjustments. You hope that, okay, maybe we're not getting enough first downs, we're not running the ball or passing the ball from an offensive standpoint, but the defense is doing a good job of keeping things at bay, keeping the other team from not getting first downs or scoring any points. And you figure, okay, we can fix something on offense. Let's see if we can get this going. And then hopefully we can get a drive going and make a big play, because it usually only takes one play, and then it starts to snowball and you have another big play. Then hopefully you can get some momentum and, one side of the ball can get on track and help the whole defense. But today it was like both sides of the ball could not get anything going. The offense couldn't move the ball and the defense couldn't stop them.
So let's start with how this game began, with Green Bay asserting themselves on the ground. And like I were talking about with Malik Willis, like you're trying to get him eased into this game. There's no better way to ease a quarterback in who arrived 20 days ago than by running the ball the way the Green Bay Packers did to start this game. So I kind of siloed it off, Bill, with the first three drives the Packers had on offense, where they averaged, let's see, 6.7 yards per play on those first three drives. They got 11 first downs. On the ground, they gained 170 rushing yards, averaged 7.4 yards per rush, and they had 7 runs of 10 or more yards. And a ton of credit to Matt LaFleur, Bill, because he schemed up some funky stuff, some funky looks for Green Bay to have success, where we all knew, like Kenny Moore II said after the game, we knew they were going to run the ball early. And I think it's maybe easier said than done to go and, well, okay, stack the box, you'll be fine. What Green Bay did on some of these running plays were like the first explosive run they had was Jaden Reed was lined up to the right of Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs to the left. Willis.
Mm-hmm.
And Willis fakes it to Reed and then like whips around and hands it off to Jacobs. And what that did was that froze EJ Speed on the backside of the play, where
Mm-hmm.
Speed had to respect Jaden Reed carrying the ball. So he wasn't able to kind of flow over and cut off Jacobs' run. So Jacobs was able to get an explosive play. And then the other one, Bill, the one that I thought was a really great play design was on 1st and 20. The one I think, Bill, that really cemented, hey, Green Bay is going to run the football really well in this game. It was on 1st and 20. Green Bay ran outside zone to Josh Jacobs. He picked up, I think, 29 yards on the play. But what they did was, again, on the backside of the play, they had Jaden Reed, whose speed you have to respect. They had him just sprint on what would have been like a little like flare
Mm-hmm.
route. They just had him sprint toward the sideline, and that pinned Zaire Franklin down on the backside of the play again. So you weren't going to have this extra body running at your running back. And I just thought LaFleur did such a good job with his play design that it wasn't just, and Green Bay won up front. They did, but it
Yes.
wasn't just Green Bay winning up front. It was that plus really excellent play design that allowed Green Bay to start this game really fast on the ground against this Colts defense.
Well, give him credit. I mean, he knew how the Colts were going to play defense against their offense. He knew the Colts were geared up to stop the run. Any coach would think, okay, you have a quarterback that just got here. He's only going to be in this system for 20 days, that they know they're going to run the ball, and they don't want to put him in situations where he's going to have to throw the ball on 3rd and 10. And they did a nice job of doing some things a little bit differently. And what it did, it put them in an advantageous position to make some big plays in regards to outflanking certain people on our defense and getting some nice runs. Josh Jacobs making some nice runs. And also the Colts defense had to be aware of Malik Willis's ability to run the football himself. So they did a nice job in regards to the Green Bay Packers of scheming up some things to get some big runs. And as I said before, they did a good job of staying on schedule, especially on 1st and 2nd down, and
Yeah.
keeping the 3rd downs very, very, I won't say easy, but manageable, so that they can make some first downs. And when you keep it 3rd and 4 and less, you have an opportunity to run most of what's on your game plan to get first downs. And it kept it very simple for Malik Willis. And that's what they did. They did a good job of keeping it simple for Willis and him executing the plan. And they stayed on schedule to make it very manageable on 3rd down.
Yeah, I mean, here's where, Bill, you mentioned the first down. Here's where Green Bay had the most success was on first downs on those first 3 drives. Green Bay ran the ball 13 times for 118 yards, 9.1 yards per carry, running the ball on first down. That right there, it doesn't matter how good your defense is on 2nd and 3rd down. You're not going to have a very good shot at getting off the field if you're giving up 9.1 yards per carry on first down. Again, 4 explosive runs on first down alone. And then additionally, again, this is more than just like, hey, the scheme was really good. Green Bay averaged 4.5 yards after contact on those
Wow.
rushing attempts. So
Wow.
I mean, that tells you they were in their bag. And the Colts offense, meanwhile, they went 3 and out on their first 2 drives. The game could have turned though, Bill. It totally could have turned on first and goal from the 4 on Green Bay's third drive, where they're marching right back down. It looks like it is like fait accompli that it's going to be 17-0. Josh Jacobs gets through a little hole, slips through. Ronnie Harrison misses a tackle, and then Zaire Franklin, last ditch effort, knocks the ball out. Laiatu Latu recovers it in the end zone. All of a sudden, it's still a 10-0 game. The Colts get the ball in the 20. You got some momentum. All right, hey, that was a rough start to the game. Now let's go down, take advantage of this, and score. And that drive for the Colts offense was disappointing. I
Yeah,
mean, that was Bill. It started off with the Jonathan Taylor getting a nice run that is negated because AD Mitchell was lined up covering up someone. So it was an illegal formation that they threw the flag immediately when the ball was snapped. That negated a run. The Colts then get a roughing the passer penalty. So they're able to move it up to the 30. They get a fresh set of downs. Anthony Richardson fumbles at the mesh point with Jonathan Taylor. That play's dead. A holding penalty on Quentin Nelson negates a Richardson scrambled throw to Alec Pierce. And then 3rd and 15, it's a check down to Trey Sermon. They got a punt. That drive right there, Bill, that felt like a pretty big gut punch in the course of this game that the Colts are not able to capitalize.
exactly. They couldn't take advantage of the turnover that the defense created. And you know what, to me, as you said, JJ, I thought if the Packers had scored on that play with Jacobs, it would have been almost, I won't say impossible, but extremely difficult for the Colts to come back from a 17-0 deficit. So I think the Colts, they got a second chance there and they didn't capitalize on it. And when you get those turnovers, you have to capitalize. And you talk about complementary football. That's, to me, complementary football. Defense does its job. Yes, it was down way in back up in their own end, and they stopped them. They got the ball back, gave it to the offense, and the offense couldn't capitalize it, making mistake after mistake and doing the job they need to do to get the ball out and possibly score some points. And then after that, if they score just only a field goal, they're only one score away from tying the game up.
So after those first 3 drives, Bill, the Colts defense did settle into this game. If you look at what I just said about those first down runs on the first 3 drives where the Packers averaged 9.1 yards per carry, on the next 8 drives, boy, I'm trying to count in real time, 7 drives. The final 7 drives of the game for Green Bay, they ran the ball 13 times. They gained 15 yards on first down. So all of a sudden, Green Bay was not able to consistently stay ahead of the chains. They averaged 1.1 yards per carry on those runs on first down. And the Colts defense was able to kind of pick up the pieces and make it work. Overall, Green Bay really did not have much rushing success after those first 3 drives. That then opened the door for the Colts offense, but they never were quite able to walk through it. And, something that Michael Pittman Jr. said after the game, Bill, that I thought was interesting was he said, we just need to be able to execute our base plays where it's first down and we are, we got to get some yards. We got to stay ahead of the chains. On first down for the Colts let's just take this for the entire game because Green Bay was so impactful on first down. The Colts on first down in this entire game averaged 7.7 yards per play. So I guess I'm just, negating my point in real time. But that also, I think a lot of that came late in the game here.
Yes.
Bill, this is the beauty of doing this podcast where we're kind of right after the game here. You're trying to figure out, okay, well, what went wrong? The Colts actually did have some decent success on first down. They just weren't then able to sustain drives. There were drops, there were penalties, there were just, lost plays on third down where, the option to Trey Sermon that got blown up, like a play like that. They just weren't able to make that one play that kind of got them over the hump, even if they got a little bit of momentum going. And then obviously that goes without saying that Anthony Richardson also did throw 2 interceptions in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to capitalize on opportunities. And you said the defense got better after those first 3 drives. And then from an offensive standpoint, you have to hopefully capitalize on that And on third down, they did not do that in the game. They think they were what, 22%, 2 for 9 on
Yeah,
third down today. And
there it is right there. Yeah.
that's not good. I mean, you're 2 for 9. If you're 22%, if that's what you are for a whole season, looking back at last year's stats, I think you're going to be last in the National Football League on converting on third down if you're 22%. So that's not good. And then the Packers were 58%. If they do that for a whole season, more than likely they're going to probably be at the top of the league in converting
Mhm.
on third down. So it's very important that you capitalize that, and the Colts capitalize on that, and the Colts could not do that. So you have to be able to move the ball on third down, move the ball on first down, which the Colts, as you said, did do that pretty well. But when you have penalties and you make mistakes, I mean, all it takes is one person to make a mistake on one play, and the next play, another guy makes a mistake, and next play, another person makes a mistake. And then that puts you behind the eight ball and makes it very difficult to continue to move the ball, sustain a drive, get some rhythm, get some momentum. And that's what the Colts needed. They needed to get into a rhythm. They never got into a rhythm, and they couldn't get any momentum, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So that played a part in how this game turned out. So the Colts need to figure out right now, first, of course, how to stop the run, but also how to keep drives alive and sustain some drives to go down and score points and be productive to help the defense out as well.
So one play, Bill, as the game got going and the Colts did have some momentum. You're going right into the fourth quarter. Jonathan Taylor's rolling. You got it 3rd and 1 on the Packers 28-yard line. And I kind of mentioned it. This was the option to Trey Sermon that lost 4 yards. And I'm not someone who understands totally the coaching points of like the speed option.
Mhm.
But the Colts run it out of pistol. It looks like it's blocked up pretty well. Alec Pierce on the outside wasn't able to contain his guy, but I don't know about asking a receiver to block in space and that being the key to the play. It seemed like this is a really nice play by 45 on Green Bay that kind of blew it up, where he was the guy who was left unblocked. And Richardson, he kind of comes up on Richardson. Richardson pitches it, but he's able to reorient himself and then kind of run with Trey Sermon. This, Bill, is a gut punch because you lost 4 yards and then Matt Gay misses the 50-yard field goal that
Yep.
would have made it a one-score game. And even after all this, after how poorly the game started for the Colts, the opportunity to make it a one-score game or to go down, pick up that first down, maybe get in the end zone, make it 13-10, and then you're feeling good because then all of a sudden the pressure goes back on Green Bay. And it's like, all right, you've skated through 3 quarters off of what you did in the first 15 or so minutes of this game, and now you got to go play some real football. And Green Bay never had to do that. So even
No.
though Green Bay struggled to run the ball, it didn't really matter because the Colts weren't able to muster enough on offense to make it count.
Yeah, they couldn't make the big plays when they needed to make the big plays. That play right there was an important play for the Colts if they could have made a first down and they could have continued a
Or,
drive.
or Bill, even if it was just a loss of none,
Exactly.
a negative zero or a net zero, you still could go for it on fourth down if you wanted to get aggressive there.
Exactly. And then when they lost yards, it made it much more difficult to try to get a first down. But you know what? The plays, it looked like as he pitched the ball, it looked like Sermon didn't catch it clean the first time. It looked like he had a little bit of bobble, just make sure he had it, which is a good thing to make sure he had the ball, didn't want to lose it. But then after that, the guy made a nice play, made a tackle on Sermon. They couldn't get a first down and then go for the field goal. And unfortunately, Gay couldn't make the field goal. But those are the things that the Colts couldn't just get it going. There's always something to prevent them from getting something started and getting some momentum. If it's, play like that, or if it was a penalty, those are the things that hurt you as a team. And of course, on offense, you can't move the ball. The Colts are better when they play, and most offenses are better when they play in rhythm and they have an opportunity to continue to make plays and make plays and make plays. And when you do it early on, as I said before, just like the Packers did, it gives you confidence to continue to make some plays. And the Colts could not do that today for whatever reason. They could not sustain a drive. And that is, to me, that hurts you as an offense because you like to be in a
Mm-hmm.
rhythm and then you feel confident about what you're doing that, hey, there's not a play that we can't run that we won't be successful on. And the Colts just couldn't get to that point today.
I think another one that really hurt was the drop AD Mitchell had on third down right after the 2-minute warning in the first
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
where again, that situation, it's 10-0. Same thing. You've kind of held serve a little bit on defense. Now your offense is moving the ball. You're getting the ball to start the second half. You're thinking, boy, if we go down there and we get points here, it's a brand new ball game. It's a different feeling coming out of the tunnel at halftime if it's a one-score game and you've at least got points. And I want to just say this about A.D. Mitchell. The guy had one drop his last 2 years of college. This guy's got really good hands. This was an unfortunate thing to happen in that moment, but A.D. Mitchell's hands are like the least of anyone's concerns. It sucks this happened in that moment. The guy's got really good hands. To me, it's an aberration based on everything we know about A.D. Mitchell statistically, about how he catches the ball, how confident he is catching the ball. That I mean, it's a tough situation, a drop you really don't want to have there, certainly, but one that I'm not worried is going to become a problem for him in the season.
I'm not worried about AD Mitchell catching the ball. He has good hands. He's going to catch the ball. That's not the worry for AD Mitchell. The thing about AD Mitchell just basically just going through the fundamentals. Just make sure he tried to run with the ball before he caught it. And the bottom line is make sure you catch the ball, look it into your hands, and he will be fine with that. Once he makes sure he goes through the fundamentals and goes back and looks at the film and say, okay, this is what I did wrong, but it's something that is definitely correctable, and he will correct it and he can correct it. I'm not worried about that. He just has to make sure that, in those crucial situations that he comes through. I'm sure he will. I'm sure if you ask him right now, he feels bad about it. He'll probably remember that for a while, and that's a good thing. So he'll remember it, and then hopefully it doesn't happen again. And I know he's not going to lose confidence in himself. He's a very confident young man. He should be because he has a lot of talent. So I'm not worried about that for AD Mitchell, as long as he goes through the fundamentals, as far as going back through the basics, as far as, okay, I need to make sure I look the ball into my hands before I take off or run with it, and he'll be fine.
So the good things that the Colts did in this game, it wasn't a complete disaster. Like let's be totally clear about that. Jonathan Taylor had a really good day. When
Yes, he
he
did.
touched the ball, you felt like something was going to happen. He ran with patience, with vision, and then with the explosion that we have become accustomed to seeing from Jonathan Taylor. He had a very good game with the ball in his hands. Alec Pierce, once again, the connection he has with Anthony Richardson is really good. The only one where you're sort of like, maybe wish you had back. It looked like he fell down
It's
on
the one he
that ball
slipped
down the
on.
near side, then he slipped a little bit.
Yep.
Tough to pin that on him, I would say. You slip on the turf, but another really good day for Alec Pierce, and you like to see that you can build on that. And then the offensive line, another good day for the offensive line, where they for the most part they kept pressure out of Anthony Richardson's face. This is a good Packers front. They've got some good players up there like Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark. Didn't feel them make a huge impact on this game. So not all bad on offense, but the mistakes and the things that killed drives have to be cleaned up, and they got to be cleaned up with the same urgency that the Colts have to clean up their run defense on that side of the ball.
Yeah, you can't. First of all, you can't have penalties in crucial situations. You got to make sure you stop that, and you don't have any penalties that can hurt you and put you behind the eight ball on a drive or in a game. And as you said, I think JT played well. He ran hard. I really like how he ran in regards to running with patience. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
he was waiting for the hole to come, but he's still moving. And then all of a sudden he sees that crack and he goes. So I think JT ran hard. I think he ran extremely, extremely well tonight and this afternoon, I should say. He had over 100 yards. So that was very good. And you're talking about 8.6 yards per carry. So that's very good for anybody running the football. And you know what, Alec Pierce, I think we saw what he was doing in training camp, and he looked very comfortable. And for me personally, looking at Alec, he looked like he was playing with more confidence this training camp, and then it's carried over to the games. He looks like he's playing with a lot of confidence now. He played with confidence last week, made some nice catches, and also today he played with confidence. He's feels comfortable with Anthony and Anthony throwing the ball, and looks like Anthony feels comfortable with him getting the ball in his
Mm-hmm.
hands so he can make a play.
Couple things to keep an eye on defense going forward. DeForest Buckner leaves the game with an ankle injury. Hopefully, he can be back at some point sooner rather than later, but we don't know what the severity of it is. Colts are going to have to hold it down on the interior, though, as long as Buckner is not out there. Laiatu Latu also left this game with a hip injury, so two guys we'll keep an eye on this week on the injury report. Bill, just the last thing here is the Colts are 0-2. And, I thought Zaire Franklin hit it. He hit a lot of the right notes after the game, like Z usually does when you talk to him, right? Like he's got great perspective on all this. He's been through so much in his career, good seasons, bad seasons, slow starts, fast starts, whatever it may be. And he said, we know we're better than 0-2, but ultimately we're not better than 0-2 because we are 0-2. So as a player, when you're on that plane ride back, you're coming in Monday to get your corrections and get your grades, what sort of mindset do you need to know you have to have the urgency to turn it around sooner rather than later, but remain confident that, hey, we may be 0-2, but we are not an 0-2 team? Like, how do you balance that out as a player?
Well, you balance it out as a player by first saying, okay, I know that this is a good team. I know my teammates are good. I know they're good athletes. I know they're good players. I know they're good teammates. So I know they're going to work hard. I know all of us are going to work hard. And also, when I go into this film room, I have to be open to take the criticism that the coach gives me or another teammate gives me and take it as corrective criticism, and that, you know what, I have to get better. And if you can do that, and knowing that I can do the job that the coaches want me to do, I can perform as they would like for me to do, and I trust the coaches to put me in situations where I can succeed, then you know what, you should feel good and don't get down on yourself or your teammates. And right now, they're going to need one another. Those guys in the locker room, they need one another. They're 0-2. There's 15 games left that you're going to play this regular season. And you just have to say, okay, we only have one game. That game right now is the Chicago Bears. What do I have to do to get better to help this team win this football game this week against the Chicago Bears? And if you do that, and just remember how you feel right now after being 0-2, and go into this week, work hard, and just listen to the coaches, and then work hard on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and be ready to play come Sunday. You know what? You should come out there with a win. But you really want to go in the game and say, okay, I want us to play well. And if we can play well, the winning will take care of itself if you do that. And that's the bottom line. So just go out there, play well, play hard and physical, which they always do. I'm not worried about that part of it, but play well and do your assignment and worry about your assignment only, and do that. The team should be okay.
Well, we'll see if the Colts can follow through on that. We will talk to you next week after the Colts play the Chicago Bears at Lucas Oil Stadium. We'll be back with another episode here on Instant Reaction. Until then, follow us on the Colts Audio Network. Give us a 5-star review if you haven't already. Subscribe to us here on YouTube if you're watching this. And again, next week, Colts and Bears. We'll have Instant Reaction following that game next Sunday night. For Bill Brooks, I'm JJ Stankevitz. Talk to you next week.